Hello and good morning everyone on 21st of December. Today is another day of festive tech calendar, and I have a big pleasure to talk about Azure Search and how easily we can search based on our data. But before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Gosia Borzecka and I am an AI engineer at Avanade. I'm also an AI MVP and co-organizer of AI 42, big monthly meetings about AI, machine learning, and data science. And if you can recognize the lady on the slide, it's Ada Lovelace, the first programmer. And currently I live in a small town near Nottingham, where her resting place is. So let's start now with Azure Search. The proper name is Azure Cognitive Search, but if we remove cognitive, still we can understand what we're talking about. So Azure Search is an API tool that helps build a rich search experience, getting the data from different data sources. To start with Azure Search, we need to have two things. First is Azure subscription, and second is a data that we want to search by. And for the demo purpose, I'm going to use the Christmas recipes from BBC Good Food page, where we will have data such as name, URL, description, author, integress, and methods that we need to be used to create a Christmas dish. So, it's time to create an Azure Search resources. For that, we need to go to portalazure.com and create a new resource. We're going to search for Azure Search and select Azure Cognitive Search and create these resources. First, we have a subscription. Then we need to create a resource group. I'm going to create a festive tech calendar. The next option is our service name. So it needs to be lowercase and unique for the Azure. So Christmas time, and location, I will choose the West Europe. The last one is pricing tier that we need to choose based on how big our search will be. So because it is a demo one, I'm going to use the free one. I will have only one index, I will have no indexer, and almost no storage I need. I'm going to choose the free one, click review and create. And create the resources. In a few seconds, the resources are completed. And we can go to resources to see what we have with Azure Search. When we open the Azure Cognitive Search resource, we can see that we have few options to start with. For example, we can start with import data, and we have different data that we can connect to. We have SQL database, Azure Cosmos DB, table storage, or some in previews such as SharePoint Online or MySQL. We can also use the samples that are created by Microsoft Learn tutorials, and it's a very good start for learning the Azure Search. Azure Search also have something called indexer, and when we add the data source, indexer is transforming those data to have the same format for the index. We can also add some skill sets to get some extra information from our data, such as reading the text from the image or sentiment of our text, or even translate the document to another language. Let's create our first ever Azure Search index. As I mentioned a moment ago, we can create the index from our data source, or we can also create here from the portal azure.com. Another option is to create this from the code. To start, we need to install first a NuGet package called Azure Search Documents. And when we install this, we need to create a model based on our data. So the data, as I mentioned before, is name, URL, description, author, ingress, and method. And based on that, I create a model with some properties, and each of them have separate attributes. The attributes are searchable, so it marks the field as full text searchable. Filterable allows the field to be referenced in the filter queries. Is sortable indicates whether the field can be used in order by. And is facetable is typically used in a presentation of search results that includes hits count by category. So one thing how you can see is something called analyzer name. So this is what we can add extra one when we start searching, and I will mention this in a little later. So when we have a model, we can start to creating the index. And to this, I need to have my service name, API key, and index name. So if I go to my local settings, I need to update the data. So I'll add my index name is Christmas is coming. I'll back here to grab my service name. It's a Christmas time, and we'll get my API key. Copy, paste, and save. So now I will create a field builder based on my model, get the definition of index name and search fields, and create or update the index. So if index already will exist, it will update all new fields if I will add them. So let's run the Azure function. And now when the Azure function is on, we can go to the Postman, get our create index from localhost, and send the request. And it's go back with index is created, updated with status OK. So when we back to our index, click overview, and then click indexes. We can see that new index was created, Christmas is coming. And when I click here, we can see that all fields that was declared in the code are exactly here, and here we can manipulate them, add or edit or change something if we need. Now, when we have an index, we should upload documents as for now we have 0 of them. And if we're going to search, we have no results. So to do that, I'm going to run another Azure function called upload documents. And again, I'm going to connect based on local settings to the Azure Search. I get the content from the data that coming into the Azure function and create the batch and upload this all data into Azure. So here we have a few options, method that we can use to populate index with documents. First is an upload, so it's going to add the new document to the index. It's going merge, so if we already have the document and we would like to add some changes, it's merge the document in the one index. Or merge or upload, so if the document which a given key already exists in the index, it will be replaced, or otherwise it will be added as a new one. So as I know that it's an initial upload, I don't have any data, I'm using only upload, not upload or merge. So let's open upload documents, and it's loading as well the data that I'm going to send. So as I mentioned before, it's all of this information here. So let me back here and send to the index. And now we can see that 1600 documents was uploaded to the index. So if we're going to refresh here, I can see still 0 documents. Is because it needs little time to show on the interface. But if I'm going to click, I can see some documents and results. So this is what we have. We have extra one called search score. So if we're going to search now, for example, for Christmas, it's giving now as the score how confident is this what we're searching for. It's here in this document. This, what could be helpful, is to add how many data is returned. So if I will add and count equals true, I can see that the result is 420. Now, when we know how the basic search looks like, we can go and create Azure function called Search Document Basics, where again we're going to get some search text, connect to Azure Search, and get the data based on the response. So the response message for all of this function that I created is getting the recipe ID, name, URL, description, author. And here it's only the difference because it's not going back as an array of strings, but it's going back as an array of objects. And that's how things going back from the Azure Search. So now when I'm going to run the Search Document Basics, it's going with the star, it's going to back all of the information of the documents that I ask for. So again, I can change here for Christmas and new request going back with other point of results. I also create a sample React application to show how you can connect Azure function to the React that it's calling the Azure Search. So for that, I created data services, and here using actions, it's going to get the URL, content type, and send the request to Azure function and Azure function calling Azure Search. And first one is a basic service, so it's taking a search term. If there is no search term and we don't want to see error, it's just added to the star, and then call API and go back with results. So search basic, if the results will back, just create the cart and with extra modal information of what is this. So let's see how it looks like. So with Azure Search Basic, if I click search, it's going now to Azure function, getting everything and going back here. So here we have 1600 results, so it's a lot. Let's search for some less. So example, this time let's search for the author called Emma. And if I click here, so when I tap here Emma and search for Emma, we have less results. Now I can click for some recipe and can see who create, what is the name, what integers I need, what kind of steps I need to do, and as well open in the BBC Good Food. So this is the search basics, how it looks like. But of course, we would like to have some more information. What we would like to have more is to manipulate more with the results. So one of things we can add is options. So this what change here is what kind of options we would like to pass to the results. So first, I would like to include the total count. Second is the size, so I would like to back only with 4 documents. And the skip is very good if you would like to add paging of the results, so how many first documents I should skip to get results. I also will order by name, so all the results that going back, it will be sorted by name, not by the score. And the query type, I choose the full. So this what we have with the query type is full, so it means there's advanced query connect like regular expression that we can add to the search. We have simple, so it just a search, the text search. And semantic is adding extra semantic, more human friendly searches. So with that, if I go and search with those options, and I set again for everything, I can see that I have again all of the results, but the documents is only 4 that back here. And I check the same here in my application. If I search for everything, I will get only first 4 documents, and I will see also as well how many results are back. So if I will search, for example, for BBC food, it will again back with less results, but only 4 I can see on the page. The extra bit that we would like to add is, for example, filters. So user can filter based on the results. So to do that, the Azure Search is using the OData schema. So for example, we can use logical operators such as and, or not. We can use compression expression like equals, not equals, greater than, lower than, greater or equal, lower than or equal. Or for collections, they are a little different. We can use any of the values that exist in the collection, or all of them should exist in the collection. So to do that, I create a Azure function, search documents filters, and this what is changed is first I make the size a little higher, so 25, and I added the filters. So here I generate the filters. I create some helper class for me. So here we have a little difference based on the collections. So we have string items, there are integers and method, and if there will be a collection, we search it like any and then search inside this collection, search the value. Otherwise, if there is just only the name, go and it's equal, so it needs to be exactly the same of the value. So based on that, let's check our Postman. So here I have filters with the name, with the author Sarah Cook. And if I send for everything, I can see that it's going back with 96 results. So here in the interface, when I go and search by filters, I can search for everything I will get all of the total results, and only 25 are showing here on the page. And now I can search by author name, so these two I implement for now, and I will search for good food. And based on my result, I have 1600, and when I update, I have 455, and all of these are only good food as an author. And the next very useful thing for Azure Search is facets. And they are very great because they getting all of your search results and categorize them. So how it works here in the .NET code, this what we can add is just add one extra option called facets and what we want to get. So we want to get name, author, and ingredients. The very important thing is that if we go to fields, this needs to be selected. If we will choose, for example, description, we'll have the internal error and we'll have no idea why. So very good is to come here and check if we can facet the field. So all these fields that are marked as faceable, I added here. And to be fair, it's almost all, it just facet output. So this is the extra thing I needed to create a dictionary to get a value and count of how many information going back from the facet, and then send back to the interface. So if I search here by everything without filters, I can get not every facet. So by default, it's 10 by category. So we can see that it's only 10 by ingredients, 10 by name, and 10 by author. And it's exactly the same here in the interface. If I search for everything, it's going back with the facet name and the count how many of them we can find in our data. But if I search, for example, for ice cream, I will have 20 only results, and based on that results, I can see the facet here. So based on that result, I have only 4 written by good food. I can only one bad name and what ingredients I need for each of them. So what happens if you would like to see all of the facets? It's a very easy trick that we can add to our code. So this what we need to add is just count 0. So this is how many facets we would like to go back from the Azure Search. 0 means that get everything. And if I go here to my interface and search for all facets, search everything, I will got now all the facets that exist in my index with only 4 results. So it's a lot. The last bit I wanted to show you on this very quick introduction is highlighted and how we can add highlighted to our code. Highlighted are very helpful to show where exactly in the search result are a term that we search for. So to add highlighted, we need to add highlighted fields. So with the fields can be highlighted, we can add highlighted pre-tag and highlighted post tag. And this one is very important if we're going to add this to the interface to how we can search for. And then I'm checking if the result going back with any highlights, and then if it contains any of the data, because if it's not exist, it's just the empty, no anything. And then going back with all of them in the one request, and it's going back to the interface. So if you would like to look at the raw data, if we go and search for Mary, for example, we can see the faces we don't want to see, but here we can see that here with name highlighted is nothing, description is nothing, but with the author we can see that there is a Mary and it's going back with our tag. So it's the same implemented here in the interface. So if I will search for ice cream and search for it, I can see that it's like a separate one. It's an ice and it's a cream, and all of them are highlighted here for me. But if I would like to find ice cream, not separate ice and not separate cream, that's what I can do. I can use all data and full search, and then when I see I can 64 results and I have only both of them ice cream that found for me. So how this look in the React code, just I will quick show you, is I generate for each of the highlighted, checking if, for example, description is highlighted, and if yes, I'm adding the HTML that going back from the Azure function, and with CSS, I just highlighted the word. The last bit I would like to share with you on this very short introduction to Azure Search is to play with Search Explorer, and anything you can do here, you can do as well in the code. So as I mentioned before, you can use the count to see how many results is going back. You can add the search here with, for example, you want to add Christmas and see the count, so we can see that there's less data. You can as well add the highlighted and see what's going back here. As you see, you can use also the different API version. So this what I show is everything on the production one, but as well you can check some in the preview. So in the preview, for example, are suggester and autocomplete that you can select and help user to better search based on your data. And if you're not familiar with OData and search query, I recommend to go here to the learnmicrosoft.com and see OData expression syntax and how we can do with formal grammar, how it works, how we can add with the filter, order by, select, and other stuff. So based on that, I would like very much thank you to come to this session, to watch it, and hope you will have a lovely Christmas break. And if you would like to contact with me, you can find me on LinkedIn or on Twitter with Gosia Borzecka, and have a lovely break. Thank you very much.